Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
All right, lesson number 4, integrity protects stability. That's going to be back on verse 9. Integrity protects stability.
Hatred stirs up strife. He who winks with the eye, he who walks with integrity, walks securely. But he who perverts his ways will become known.
He who perverts his way will become known. Integrity protects stability. So integrity creates predictability. And I think as a leader, you have to be predictable. People need to know exactly where you stand, and they need to know what to expect, right? And I think you should have high standard. I always have had high standard, and people need to know what your standards are, but then they need to know exactly what you will do, how you are going to react, what is expected of them. You have to be predictable. I think that's really a foundation of leadership, because when you have a leader, you don't know how they're going to act. When they have policies, but they don't follow them, and you don't know where you stand, I think that is wrong. For example, in the Navy, we have once a year fitness report or annual eval. And I think if you're a good commanding officer, your people should know exactly where they are. It shouldn't be a surprise if they get a good report or a bad report. They should know when it's that time of the year where they stand based on their performance and your standard. If they met or exceeded the standard, they should get a good report. And if they didn't, then they should expect a bad report. So I think that's important for leaders. So people know where you stand, always. So compromise invites exposure, instability, and erosion of trust. So that's really how you build trust, right? You are reliable. All right. So I believe that is really something we need to focus on when it comes to application, right? Create rhythm of execution, not urgency-driven reaction. Another thing that my mentor here, Darren Hardy, recommends that we do is you need to set up times, maybe an hour and 30 minutes, maybe two hours throughout the day where you will absolutely not be interrupted. That's where you are going to be focusing on your number one priority for the day. No phone call, no messages, no internet. You just focus on whatever work you believe is important. And you set that time, you shut off all communication, put your phone on do not disturb. You can do that on your phone now. We have the technology where you will absolutely not be interrupted. You get into that zone, right? That genius zone where you focus on whatever task it is. 1 hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours, every single day you work on your most important task. So you have to have that rhythm of execution. And I think by doing so, you are going to accomplish so much more than the average person. For example, when I used to work in San Francisco, most engineers there, they usually come around 9:30, 10 o'clock. But I would be at the office around 7 a.m., 7:30. So usually I would have at least 2 hours where I am all by myself in the office. Nobody else is there, and I can really focus. And I accomplish a lot more during those 2 hours than I would once people start coming and they come to your desk, they interrupt you and things like that. So I think in life you really have to focus first and foremost on what is important and urgent. It's something that you plan to do. It's your priority and it is urgent. You have to do it now. You have to focus on that. Now, if something is urgent but it's not important, maybe you need to delegate that to somebody else. Someone who works for you can take care of that, like answer the phone or things like that. Because if something is important, someone can always call, and we have a technology now, they can just leave you a voicemail and you will get back to them, right? But you focus on what's important and urgent. And then the next thing is what is important, but it is not urgent. That's really what you need to focus on next, in my opinion. Things like maybe working out, or maybe you are writing a book and you need to write a chapter every day, or whatever it might be. Something that's a priority to you, but it's not urgent. You don't have to do it now, but it is important. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to focus on. And then the last category is it's not important and it's not urgent. So those things, I think you need to get rid of them. Just remove them from your list. Don't delegate, just erase that, because it's not important, it's not urgent. Therefore, nobody needs to get it done. All right. So look at all of the things you have planned to do or that you're going to be doing today. And again, focus on what's important, not urgent. Delegate what is urgent, but not important. And next, you work on.
All right, everyone. Welcome to this special edition of the Leadership and Success podcast. Today, we are going to do the 10-minute AI recap of Proverbs Chapter 10. We initially did this, our initial broadcast was January 10th. We went through the book of Proverbs in the month of January. So on January 10th, we went through Proverbs Chapter 10. Today, I'm going to give you the 10-minute AI recap. Actually, it's going to be more like 17 minutes AI recap of the hour-long discussion we had back in January. Today is February the 10th. And tomorrow I'm going to be back. I'm going to do Proverbs Chapter 11. So the idea here, I've already shown you a couple of clips from the original broadcast on January 10th. So now I am going to show you the 2 AI recap for this episode. And then I'm going to show you a couple more clips from the original podcast. And again, all of these are available everywhere. Podcasts are available. So whatever your favorite podcast platform is, whether it's Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, I guess is now YouTube Music or something, IR, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, plus YouTube and LinkedIn. So let's do a moment of gratitude. So every day this month, I am grateful for Black History Month, right? For the contribution of African American into the story of America. Really, Black American descendant from slave have built this country, and I want to make sure we celebrate all of their achievements. So today, I kind of have 2 separate vignettes. The first one is about the day today. So let me share my screen. So today is February 10th. So we're going to talk about February 10, 1908. On this day in history, a mob of more than 2,000 white people lynched a Black man. His name was Eli Piggott in Brookhaven. This act of racial terror occurred in broad daylight, less than 100 yards from the Lincoln County courthouse. And nobody intervened. Eli Piggott was accused, not convicted. Then we have a constitution in this country, right? There is due process, but no, none of that was respected, completely ignored our constitution. So he was accused of alleged sexual impropriety with a white woman. As was tragically common during this era, the accusation alone was treated as proof. Due process was never allowed to take place. So according to contemporary report, Piggott was being transported under guard from Jackson to Brookhaven to stand trial. Upon our arrival, the mob briefly confronted military guard, seized Piggott, brutally beat him, and hanged him from a telephone pole near the courthouse as his body swung. Member of the mob fired bullet into his corpse. And this again happened in 1908. Lynching in Mississippi, militia overcome by infuriated mob. 2,000 citizens. How despicable is that? And this was in Brookhaven. They say Homesickers Paradise. I don't think so. All right. So that's one thing that happened in our complicated American history. And the second thing, which is a lot more positive, I would like to really celebrate and honor and remember the achievement of African American in our military. Again, African American have been a part of the U.S. military. They have fought for this country from the very beginning, from the Independence War all the way to today. So today we are going to celebrate the very first person, the very first 4 African American soldiers who won the Medal of Honor. And those 4 are Private Dennis Bell, Private Fitz Lee, Private William Tompkins, and Private George Wonton. On June 30th, 1898, during the Spanish-American War, 4 black soldiers from the legendary 10th Cavalry etched their names into American history through extraordinary courage. While aboard the USS Florida, U.S. forces approached the harbor at Tayabacoa to deliver food and ammunition to Cuban insurgents fighting Spanish rule. As troops landed, Spanish forces opened fire. Most escaped, but 16 wounded American soldiers were captured. Multiple rescue attempts failed. Then 4 men stepped forward. Private again, Dennis Bell, Fitz Lee, William Tompkins, and George Wonton. Knowing full well the danger, they volunteered for what was essentially a suicide mission. Under enemy fire, they rowed to shore, located their wounded comrades, and carried them back to safety one by one to the ship. No orders, no hesitation, just courage, duty, and brotherhood. For their heroism, each man was awarded the Medal of Honor, becoming the first 4 African-American soldiers to receive the nation's highest military decoration. Wow. And yet, like so many black heroes, their story remains largely unknown. These men served in an era where they fought for a country that denied them full citizenship. They wore the uniform while facing segregation and discrimination. Their valor was often minimized or erased from history. Still, when the moment demanded courage, they answered the call. This is why African American history is important, because Black history is American history. So Black History Month reminds us that courage is not defined by rank, but by character. And I believe for this one, I did get a comment. I heard from JC Davis, my new friend. He says, as a veteran who served 15 years in the Army, the story is differently. Bear, Lee, Thompson, and Wonton exemplify what true service means. Courage without condition, duty without recognition. Their legacy lives in every soldier who answered the call. And that is so true. Amen to that. All right. So again, we are celebrating Black History Month every day this month on the Leadership and Success podcast. And now I'm going to play first a 7-minute AI recap of Proverbs Chapter 10, which was originally broadcasted January the 10th. So I'm going to do that. A minute after that, I'm going to play a 9-minute recap of the same with a different AI tool. And then I'm going to play 2 more short clips from the original podcast. So while you guys are listening, I would like to hear from you. Please let me know where you are joining us from, what city, what state, if in the US, and if outside of the US, which country. And also let us know what you are grateful for today. And I also want to know if you would type in the comment 3 to 5 takeaway from today's lesson. And most importantly, I think, is what is one thing you are going to put into practice that you've learned from this episode this week? Because to me, leadership is not just about listening and understanding. It's not just about theory, but it's about doing. It's about action. All right. Let me play the very first AI recap. This is going to last about 7 minutes.
All right. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're diving into some incredibly modern leadership advice from a really ancient source, the Book of Proverbs. We're going to take this timeless wisdom and turn it into a practical, usable framework for anyone leading a team right now, whether you're in the military, cybersecurity, or a crazy, fast-paced tech startup. Let's jump in. You know, this right here gets to the absolute heart of it. We always imagine leadership failure as this one big, dramatic implosion. But the truth is, it's usually more like a slow leak. It's a quiet surrender that happens one day at a time, through all the tiny compromises and careless habits we just let slide. And this connects perfectly to a modern idea I'm sure you've heard of, the compound effect. See, leadership isn't really about those handful of big, high-stakes moments. It's about the accumulation of your daily disciplines, or your lack of them. Every single small action, good or bad, it all compounds over time, and that is what defines your real impact. So, here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into two main areas. First, we'll look at the inner world. That's your character. Then we'll look at the outer world, your actions. And finally, we'll see how those two things come together to build a legacy that actually lasts. All right, first up, the inner world. This is the bedrock. It's the foundation of everything else. Before you can even think about leading other people effectively, you have to lead yourself. The real work of leadership always starts from the inside out. Okay, so principle number 1 is all about character and integrity. And the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's profound. It's that whatever is hidden inside a leader will eventually become visible to everybody. There's just no such thing as a private character flaw in leadership. It will always find a way out into your decisions and your actions. And this slide just lays it out so clearly, right? The two paths. Walking with integrity, that's not just a moral thing. It's a strategic thing. It creates security and stability for your team. But taking shortcuts, well, that path always leads to instability and eventually getting found out. So how do you actually apply this? Okay, first, stop just thinking about the immediate win. Think about the ripple effects, the second and third order consequences. Second, get in the habit of choosing what's consistent over what's convenient. And here's a great gut check question. Is there anything you're doing right now that you would be terrified to have to defend on the front page of a newspaper? Yeah, that's a good place to start. All right, our second internal principle is a huge one, emotional discipline. Your ability to regulate yourself, especially when everything is hitting the fan, is absolutely non-negotiable as a leader. If you can't manage your own emotions, you're not creating calm, you're just creating more chaos. In those super high-stakes environments, like a military op or a massive cyber attack, this becomes just critical. The secret is to create a little bit of space between what happens and how you respond. Don't just react. You have to take that breath, pause, get your own nervous system back in check, and then respond with intention. That one move sets the tone for your entire team. So, here's a question to really sit with. Is your self-control a silent strength in your leadership? When things go wrong, do people on your team see you as that stabilizing force? Or do they kind of brace for impact, wondering how you're going to react? It's a silent strength, for sure, but trust me, everybody on your team feels it. Okay, so now we're going to shift from the inside to the outside, to the outer world. This is where your internal character, all that integrity and emotional discipline we just talked about, gets made visible. This is where the rubber meets the road. And man, this slide shows the impact so clearly. A leader's diligence, it isn't just about checking boxes. It's about building trust. It's about building momentum. When you model that kind of excellence, your team gets inspired. But when a leader is careless or lazy, it just sucks the credibility and the morale right out of the room. And this brings up a fantastic question. You see, leaders, you set the cultural speed limit for your team. So you have to ask, is the pace I'm setting inspiring people to excellence? Or is it just creating a culture of burnout and exhaustion? The right pace feels sustainable, and it's motivating. Next up, let's talk about your words. Because for a leader, words are never, ever neutral. They are amplifiers. Every single email, every comment in a meeting, every bit of feedback you give, it either builds your team up or it tears them down. It brings life and clarity, or it spreads confusion and fear. There's no middle ground. This might be the most powerful and important question in this entire explainer. Just think about it. After someone has a conversation with you, do they walk away feeling psychologically safer, more confident, more capable, or do they walk away feeling smaller, diminished? The answer to that question defines your real impact as a communicator. All right, let's bring it all home. Our final section, the enduring legacy. This is about the long-term result of mastering both your inner world and your outer actions. This is about building something that's going to last long after you've moved on. Wow, what a line. Storms reveal foundations. See, a crisis, a market crash, intense pressure, those things don't create your character. They just reveal the foundation that was already there all along. Was it built on solid rock, or was it built on sand? The storm will always, always tell the truth. And here it is, the ultimate outcome. The leader who has done the daily grind of building character and taking principled action. They stand firm when disruption hits. But the leader who's been taking shortcuts, compromising integrity, or just phoning it in, they will inevitably collapse when real pressure shows up. And here is the key takeaway I really want you to get. Your leadership legacy, it's not some giant monument that gets built at the end of your career. No, it is an architecture of influence that you are building right now, today, with every small decision you make. It's built brick by brick. So what are these bricks? Well, they're the ordinary, everyday things. It's every word you speak to your team members. It's every task you complete with diligence. It's every single value you choose to honor, especially when it's hard or inconvenient. These are the real building blocks of a lasting influence. So we'll end with this final powerful thought. True leadership greatness isn't found by chasing extraordinary moments. It's found in the faithful, consistent mastery of the ordinary, day in and day out. Because it's those leaders, the ones who master the daily, boring, essential work of character and action, they're the ones who build legacies that can withstand absolutely anything.
Welcome to our conversation on ancient leadership insights, drawn from Proverbs Chapter 10. We'll dive into how timeless wisdom applies to modern leadership, especially for military officers, cybersecurity professionals, and tech leaders.
I'm excited to unpack this. So we're looking at practical, everyday leadership lessons, right?
Exactly. Proverbs 10 shows us that leadership isn't lost in one big catastrophic moment. It's, slowly surrendered through little daily choices. It's
right.
like every decision we make is a tiny brick in our legacy.
Yes, it's that idea of consistency building up over time. So what do you think is the key takeaway here?
Well, one major point is that character shapes consequences. Proverbs 10, 1-2 really highlights how a wise, leader brings joy while foolish actions lead to grief.
Right, text that really drives home the importance of personal integrity. And that seems to resonate with modern ideas too, like in Darren Hardy's compound effect, where our small actions compound over time.
Exactly. It's like, imagine building a house. Each brick counts. Even a tiny crack over time can compromise the whole structure.
Yep, absolutely. That makes me wonder though, do you think this emphasis on consistency might sometimes overshadow the need for bold, innovative decisions in leadership?
That's a fair challenge. But even bold decisions are best rooted in consistent, daily habits. The context here is that dramatic decisions alone might look impressive, but if they're not supported by discipline and integrity, they lack sustainability.
I see your point.
Right. And speaking of discipline, another key lesson is about diligence. Proverbs 10:4-5 warns against laziness and stresses that diligent effort builds trust and credibility over time.
Yeah, and I like that idea because it ties into how leaders create momentum, not by sporadic bursts of intensity, but through regular, thoughtful actions.
Absolutely. It's like you're setting up a rhythm. Every day you have to be prepared and, act before opportunity even knocks.
I get that, right? And isn't that also about resilience? Because being disciplined means you stay ahead of potential crises.
Indeed. It's about preempting problems before they escalate. Leaders who delay or react solely out of urgency usually end up creating avoidable crises.
Yep, exactly.
Then there's the lesson on words, Proverbs 10:10-11, 13-14, which really tells us that words multiply impact.
Oh, that's a powerful one, isn't it? Your words can either build trust or create confusion.
Absolutely, and this is huge. Wise leaders use their words to clarify, encourage, and stabilize, while careless speech can sow discord.
So true. But I have to ask, isn't it sometimes hard to balance being candid with being encouraging? How do you think leaders should handle that?
That's a great question. It's like walking a tightrope. Leaders must audit their communication and ask, after speaking, do people feel uplifted or diminished? It requires a level of self-awareness and, constant reflection on intent.
Absolutely, I can see that.
Yep, and that reflection is where integrity comes in too. Proverbs 10:9 tells us that those who walk with integrity walk securely.
Integrity is truly the bedrock of leadership, right? It builds trust and protects stability.
Right, it does. Integrity may slow progress sometimes if it means resisting shortcuts, but it ensures lasting, stable success.
That's a solid trade off. Moving to another aspect, the text talks about emotional discipline in Proverbs 10:12. That's such a critical, yet often overlooked element in leadership, especially in high stress fields.
Absolutely. Uncontrolled emotion basically fuels conflict. It's important for leaders to create that space between stimulus and response, to think before reacting.
Yeah, really, that's essential. So, in a stressful situation, whether it's a military operation or a cybersecurity crisis, a calm and measured response can be the difference between escalating and resolving a conflict.
Precisely. Leaders who master emotional discipline set the tone for their teams and foster an environment where thoughtful responses prevail over knee-jerk reactions.
Right, that's the silent strength in leadership.
And then we have the focus on work ethic from Proverbs 10:16 and 26. It's a reminder that results matter, but the manner in which they're achieved is even more important.
It reminds me of the phrase, standards are caught more than they are taught. A leader's behavior sets the cultural speed limit for the organization.
Exactly. When leaders show ethical effort and visible excellence, it signals their values and shapes the team's norm.
Indeed, that's powerful.
Then there's righteous leadership, as highlighted in Proverbs 10:25 and 30. It's about preparing before the storm, building resilience, and ensuring that a leader's foundation is strong enough to withstand challenges.
Yes, it's like investing in your own internal fortitude, a kind of preemptive resilience training.
Right. And the idea is that while dramatic crises might not define leadership, they do reveal whether the everyday habits are strong enough to support a leader under pressure.
Yeah, it really makes you think. So overall, the chapter teaches that real leadership is built across countless small decisions. It's not about one breakout moment, but about faithful, consistent practice.
Exactly. Leadership success is measured by every word spoken, every routine task completed, every value honored. As the reflections suggest, a leader's legacy is built brick by brick through intentional daily actions.
Spot on.
And these principles seem especially relevant today in fields where trust, discipline, and ethical decision-making are paramount, like in cybersecurity and military leadership.
Absolutely. It's interesting to see how these ancient lessons align with modern strategies, like balancing urgency with methodical preparation.
Right. And let me add, it's also a reminder for leaders in tech. In our fast-paced world, where every decision can rapidly scale up, staying grounded in integrity and consistency is vital.
Got it, absolutely. One thing I wonder, though, is if sometimes this focus on everyday discipline might make leaders overly cautious. Could that potentially stifle breakthrough innovations?
That's a thought-provoking point. I think the key is in balance. Sure, daily discipline might seem conservative, but it's not about playing it safe. It's about building a reliable and resilient foundation. Bold moves can still happen, but they should be supported by strong, consistent values.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Exactly. It's not a call to forego innovation, but to ensure that every innovative leap is underpinned by solid character, clear communication, and ethical conduct.
And that, in my opinion, is what makes the wisdom from Proverbs so timeless. It transcends eras, serving as a reliable guide no matter the context.
Right on. When you think about it, these lessons are almost like foundational algorithms for leadership, the kind that drive decision-making in both calm times and crises.
Absolutely. As we wrap up, how do you think leaders should start applying these lessons today?
Great question. Leaders should begin by reflecting on their daily habits, questioning if each action, word, or decision aligns with their core values. They might ask, do I inspire through my integrity? Am I allowing my work ethic to normalize excellence?
Yup, that makes sense.
And also, it's about being intentional with communication, ensuring that words uplift rather than diminish, and creating environments where positive, disciplined behaviors are the norm.
I love that. It's very actionable, something anyone in a leadership position can start working on immediately.
Absolutely. Proverbs Chapter 10 isn't just ancient text, it's a living blueprint for leadership that, when applied daily, can genuinely transform teams and organizations.
Yep, that's the power of consistent, mindful leadership. Well, this has been an enlightening discussion. Thanks for taking the deep dive into these ancient yet ever relevant insights.
My pleasure. Remember, great leadership is about the little things adding up to something truly significant over time.
Agreed. Till next time, keep building that legacy, one decision at a time.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Quick reminder, tomorrow I am going to be back and I'm going to be speaking to a Navy SEAL tomorrow. Tomorrow I am speaking to Lieutenant Andrew Sridhar, U.S. Navy SEAL veteran. He's an elite execution architect, a coach, a speaker, a warrior poet. We're going to be talking about strength, reflection, and execution at the elite level. You do not want to miss it. All right, I'm going to play a couple more clips from the original podcast from Proverbs Chapter 10. And until tomorrow, have a wonderful evening. Bye for now. Lesson number 6, work ethics, signal values. We're going to read Proverbs chapter 10, verse 16 and 26. So that's about work ethics, signal values. All right. 16 and 26.
The labor of the righteous leads to life, the wages of the wicked to sin.
Labor of righteous lead to life. Okay, let's go to 26.
As vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is the lazy man to those who send him.
Wow. Work ethics, signal value. So results do matter, but so does how they are achieved. It's not just what, but how, I think is even more important. So poor effort or careless leadership demoralizes teams and undermines mission success. Sometimes for those who are just looking for a specific outcome, no matter how they get there. So that's why, as a leader, Brian Tracy is the one who taught me that first you have to ask, is it legal? That's like a low bar to pass. Okay, it's legal, we can do it. Then you have to ask, is it moral? And then you have to ask, is it ethical? Is this the right thing to do? Maybe the best thing to do is going to take a little bit longer, and that's what you should do instead of using a shortcut and doing something illegal, immoral, or unethical, right? So think about how you do it, because work. And again, one book I've been plugging in is this one by my mentor, The Compound Effect, Darren Hardy. I think it's a really great book. Jumpstart your income, your life, and your success. It really shows how the daily decision you make will have a huge impact on your legacy or your outcome. Things don't just happen overnight. You have to be doing the right thing for a long time before you start seeing the result of it. And do not give up, right? It may have taken you a couple of years to gain on extra weight, like 20 pounds or something. You're not going to lose it overnight, right? Once you start eating right and exercising, it is going to take a while, but you should not stop. You should need to continue doing it, and eventually you gotta get to the point where you're gonna start seeing result. Right? It compounds. Same thing when you do good thing, it compounds. When you do bad thing, it compounds too. Like the way you, for example, you gain an extra 20, 25 pounds, over 3, 4, 5 years, it didn't happen overnight. No, it really would be something if someone ate junk food, whatever it is, maybe a pizza, a burger, or whatever it is, candy, and then the moment you eat that junk food, you gain 5 pounds. People would stop doing that because the result would be immediate. But the truth is, you don't see any changes. You look exactly the same, and you keep doing it over and over again. And before you know it, with time, then that's when you start seeing the consequences for your action, again, good or bad. All right, so.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.